Let's take a look at which counters showed movement today on the Bourse.
There's a bit of movement on BAT, which basically was getting ex-dividend today, so there was a bit of activity there and the price came down. But most of the activity was on East African Breweries, which traded which had a turnover about 233 million. And of that 233 million, 90 to 95% was foreign activity. So the total turnover of the market was around 423 million. So basically about close to, again, 80% of the activity was basically by foreign investors.
Why is East African Breweries showing strength today?
Basically, actually, it came down. Most of the investors that moved in were moving into kind of buy, but it seemed like it was just trades in between foreigners, since there's still actually a bit of lack of retail activity in the market.
Well, we're seeing that the Bourse has passed the 3,000 mark, and it's the whole psychology game in the Kenyan Bourse. Are investors coming back into the market, or is it not going to boost investor confidence?
Basically, there are two things that can happen in this scenario. The 3,000 mark will act as a psychology mark for the general market in terms of the direction of the market, though the market has been in a bearish period for close to 2 months now. However, if the market does breach the 3,000 mark, which is just 5 points away, and we expect it to do that maybe by tomorrow, by the end of the week, two things can actually happen. Is that investors might either think that the market is undervalued and moving to take positions, or guys might panic sell. Without much of retail activity in the market currently, we expect guys actually not to panic sell, because the people that are in the market are mainly foreigners and institutions. So we expect either one, the market to stabilize around the 3,000, below the 3,000 mark, or to slightly go up, considering we're also close to the end of the quarter. So we expect fund managers to start coming in and trying to boost their own returns.
How likely is it that the fund managers will come back into the market, though?
It has been a trend. If you look at the Nairobi Stock Exchange, towards the end of every quarter or just after the end of every quarter, the stocks kind of rally on certain counters, especially the blue chips, where the fund manager is just trying to push the prices up so that their returns that they're reporting at the end of the quarter, they are good. It normally lasts for a week and a half. Then after that, we get back to normal activity.
Let's move over to the shilling. Do you think that the shilling will remain resilient after the bond issue?
There's been a lot of euphoria on the shilling, and I believe the strengthening of the shilling was not based on fundamentals. As much as they say there's been weak demand from the importers and huge inflows from the exporters, I believe demand and supply didn't play much in the strengthening of the shilling in the last 2 weeks. The misconception of foreigners coming in for the Kenyan bond was mispriced into the Kenyan shilling. Considering, I think Kenyan bond will do something around 18 to 20 billion, with close to 60% of that being actually local institutions.
What's your outlook for yeah, carry on. Sorry, carry on, Reginald.
Yeah, so basically in the next week or 2 weeks, we'll start expecting the shilling to start going back to its normal levels, 75, close to 76. If the importers keep on picking up the appetite the way they are doing, it might even actually reach close to the 77 mark if the central bank doesn't intervene.
How do you expect the shilling to close on Friday, though?
I think the mark to look at is the 75.60 mark on the weaker side, and maybe a 74.30 on the stronger side.
Well, the Bourse is at about 3,005 points today. How do you expect it to close on Friday?
Personally, I think the Bourse will go below the 3,000 mark, and it might stay down there for a while. We might have another scenario like the one that we had last year, where the Bourse actually continues to drop to the end of the year. Year to date, it's actually down 14.2%, and I expect it to go down further.
And which stocks are you keeping a close eye on for this week?
I seem to be an agricultural fanatic, because of the shortages that are in the global market, the shortages that are in the country, is actually the only sector that looks like it has some price appreciation. Reduced yields, which are being covered by increased prices, will help their income. So counters like Sasimi, counters like Mumias, counters like Williamson Tea, and counters to stay away from, again, the banking sector. I really don't see anything good coming from those guys, and personally, I don't think their books are also right.